Okay, this is kind of cool. We need to find out what A is before we can ever do B. We can't find B unless we know what the length of A is. So what can we do? Well, we know that the length A times that length of 8, basically, actually, let me do it in different colors. This length times this length equals this length squared. So we can then say 6 squared, or 36, is equal to 8 times A, or 8A. So to solve that out then, we would say divide both sides by 8. We would get A is equal to, what do you get when you do 36 divided by 8? We can do it over here. 32, 4 times. 4 remainder over 8, the number we divided by, which is equal to 4.5, which is also equal to 9/2 if they were going to maybe give it to us that way, which they are. So that's what A is. And so any problem that doesn't have that for A, we're going to cross it out. We're going to cross out C, cross out B. A and D both have A is equal to 9/2. Great. So let me get rid of the work. Just put 9/2 over there. Now that we know that this is equal to 9/2, or another way to say it is 4.5, now we can find B, because the way that we find B, I'm going to erase all the other marks here. Okay, the way that we find B is this length, that whole side, times whatever segment is formed on the bottom. That. Okay? So we have to do that whole length, and actually let's write it out. So B equals the whole length, 8 plus 4.5 is 12.5. Call it 12.5 times that short length of 4.5. See how we needed that to find B? Sorry, and that will be B squared. So if we wanted to find B, we'd have to say the square root of what we get when we multiply those together. When we multiply those together, let's just do the math over here to check it. Carry the 2, carry the 1. And we've got how many digits behind the decimal in the problem? We have 2 digits behind the decimal in the problem. This digit and this digit were both behind decimals. And so in our answer, we have 2 digits behind it right there, right there. Okay, 56.25. That's what we need to square root, 56.25. And since you have calculators, you can square root that amount, and when you square root it, you get 7.5, which is the same as 7.5, which is the same as 15/2. And that's what we get. So for A, and let me get this calculation stuff out of here. For A, you can see we got 9/2, and for B, we got 15/2. There it is. Okay, this problem's a bit complex. Let's get ready for it. What we're going to do here is we're going to say, in order to find in order to find the altitude length, I should say, let's say, if we wanted to find this length of 20, we would have to multiply together 21 times A and then square root it. So we can say, another way to say that is 20 squared equals 21 times A. Or 400 equals 21A. And then if we divide both sides by 21, we get A equals 400 over 21. That's the first part of this, and so we can eliminate any answer that doesn't have A equals 400 over 21. C and D don't, so we're down to A or B. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit more, it's involved enough that you've really got to be paying close attention to this. Okay, we now know that A has a value of 400 over 21. And in order to find B, whenever you're trying to find one of these sides of the big triangle, you need to take the entire length, this, times the length that's on the matching side, this. Okay, so what we're going to multiply to get that B squared is 400 over 21 times, and what is that green length? Well, it's 21. Actually, let me write this in blue, so you can see where we're getting that. Let me write this in blue too. That's 400 over 21. And so we're saying we're going to multiply that length, 400 over 21, times the sum of the two lengths that make up that green segment. So those two segments are 21 and that other segment of 400 over 21. Okay, essentially what you're saying is this times this plus this, because this plus this gets you all the way down. And since that length is that, it's this plus that. Okay, that's what we got. Now, in order to do what we want to do in parentheses, which is to add those values together, we need to change this into a common denominator. So we've got 400 over 21 times, and let's do what's 21 times 21 for 41. So if we wanted to turn 21 into like 21 over 1 equals what over 21, right? We'd have to say this times 21 would give us 21 there, so this times 21 would give us our top number, and that's what we got, 441. Okay? So now we finish this off by saying, okay, plus what was already there, 400 over 21. Okay, big numbers, but don't get discouraged. Let's keep going. We're going to have B squared is equal to 400 over 21 times, now that they both have the denominator of 21, we can just put the whole thing over 21 and say, what's 441 plus 400? It's 841. Okay, And then when we multiply together, we say b squared equals, on the bottom, 21 times 21, 441, over, on the bottom, and 400 times 841. I'm going to do this math over here on the side. We get 0, 0, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, 4 times 8 is 32, plus 1 is 33, 336400. Now this looks like it's getting to be a mess, but it's not. You'll see why in a second. It looks scary and terrifying. Don't be terrified. Okay. When we square root both sides, we say, okay, what if we wanted to take the square root of b squared and the square root of this side, 336400 over 441. Well, what we're allowed to do, this will be b equals, what we're allowed to do is separate this and say we're going to square root the top separately from the bottom, square root the bottom separately. Okay, and then what do we get when we square root 336400? We get 580. It's a perfect square root. What do we get when we square root 441? We get 21. Remember, that makes a lot of sense because that's how we got it in the first place, is we multiplied 21 times 21 to get it. So if we square root it, that's what we get. So then that's what we're looking at here for the second number, 580 over 21. So A and B both have 400 over 21 as the first answer for A, and only A has 580 over 21 for B. So that is our answer, A, and we're done. Now we've got one more problem to do on this video. Okay, let me do this again. So if we wanted to find A, we take this segment times this segment and square root it for A. Okay, so we'll say A equals the square root of 16 times 64. I'm sorry, times 4, which equals 64, and the square root of 64 is 8. But we don't have to multiply them together even. We're allowed to do this. We're allowed to say equals the square root of 16 times the square root of 4 separately. And when we do that, what do we get? Well, the square root of 16 is 4 times the square root of 4, which is 2, equals 8, just like we knew. If we had actually done 16 times 4 up here, we would have gotten the square root of 64. That will still give us 8, whether we did that or not. But I'm just only suggesting that since these are in pieces and they're perfect squares, you can bring them out as their square roots and make it simpler for yourself. So any answer that doesn't have A equals 8 is already going to be wrong. So it's not going to be B, it's not going to be D. Now we're going to figure out what we get for the second length. I'm going to move this away. Okay, and we'll do the second one. So how do we do it? Well, if we were to find b, let me erase those original marks. If we were to find b, what we need to do is we need to multiply the entire length here times just the segment that is made on the same side of the triangle as the side we're looking for. We're looking for b, so we're going to use that 4 times, what's that whole length, 16 plus 4? It's 20. So to find b, let's do b in turquoise. We say we're going to have the square root of the entire length, 20, times that short length, 4. Which, as I said, it could be, you could write that the same as root 20 times root 4. And the square root of 4 is just 2. And the square root of 20, I'm actually going to expand that out. So let me erase this and move it out here further. That's equal to 2. But I'm going to write, this is the square root of 20 is 4 times 5. And you can see then that we can square root that 4 and bring that out. So if we bring that out, we get, on the outside, we get 2 square root of, and the 5 can't come out because it doesn't have a matching other 5 to help bring it out, and it's not a perfect square. Okay, so times that 2, and what is 2 root 5 times 2? It is 4 root 5. We just multiply the numbers, this number and this number. So we get 4 root 5 is what b is equal to. And which one's that? That's C. So C is our answer.